Again, we've got initial conditions and we need to solve for certain letters, so make sure you've got the displacement in terms of t and the velocity will just differentiate with respect to t, so negative sign, cos goes to negative sign. Alright, so in the first one we've got t equals 0 initially, so t equals 0, x equals 0, so this becomes 0, a cos alpha, because t equals 0, and the velocity is 6, so 6 is minus 2a sine alpha. Alright, which is really just minus 3a sine alpha. Again, different ways to do it. I might use sine squared alpha plus cos squared alpha, because that has to equal 1, and in this case sine squared alpha is minus 3 on a squared, cos squared is 0 on a, which is just 0. So we know that 9 equals a squared. So a has to be 3 since a, we're told, is greater than 0. So it can't be the negative 3. Alright, so we know a is 3. If we sub that into our two equations, initial equations, we've got 0 equals 3 cos alpha, or cos alpha equals still 0. 0 divided by 3 is 0. And we also have our sine alpha being negative 3 on 3, which is negative 1. So if you think about it, remembering we're told that alpha is 0 to pi or 0 to negative pi. Sine is negative and cos is positive here. Also, sine is, that's silly, isn't it? Because sine is a negative 1. So down here, if I just looked at cos of 0, I could have said, I would have said pi on 2 or minus pi on 2. So it's good to notice both. So sine alpha is negative 1. So here, using kind of both of these, or sine alpha, alpha would be negative pi on 2 in that domain. Okay, so just be careful to look at your domains in your sines and sines of the sine and coses. Okay, so let's look at B. So in B, initially x is 1. So this time 1 equals a cos alpha. And velocity is minus 2 root 3 is, minus 2a sine alpha. So just simplifying that, I get root 3 equals a sine alpha. So if I do sine on cos, or a sine alpha on a cos alpha, you can see you'll get root 3 on 1, or root 3. Now, this would be, we've got 60, so pi on 3, alpha is pi on 3. Just got to check that that works for both of them. So remembering that it says a is positive, so you can see that sine alpha has to be root 3 on a. So sine alpha has to be positive, and cos alpha is 1 on a, so cos alpha is also a positive. So we're in the first quadrant is fine. So alpha is pi on 3 is fine. That's what I want. All right, putting that back into, let's put it in this one, looks simple. So 1 equals a cos 60. Cos 60 is a half, so let's times both sides by 2, and I get a equals 2. There.